All right. Welcome to the Unlock the Middle Navigating Leadership AP Roundtable. This is AP Roundtable number 9. Tonight we are talking with APs from around the country to hear their story and learn about their experiences from the AP chair. Our goal, connect assistant principals and aspiring leaders to help them understand the role of the assistant principal. Hey, if you're watching this live, please make sure you tell us where you're from. Leave some comments. Let us know. Be part of the conversation. We want you here. Share this. Drop your comments. Tell others who are in the chair, almost aspiring to be in the chair, whatever you want. Let people know this is going on. Get this thing viral. Share it via social media. Let's get this thing started. I'm AJ Bianco. I'm a co-host for the AP Roundtable, heading into my second year as an assistant principal here in New Jersey, and I am very excited for the conversation. I got with me some great people. As always, I got Ryan and Mike, and our guests tonight are James and Hope. So let's kick it around. Ryan, introduce yourself.
Hello. I'm Ryan Scott. I hail from the lovely state of Kentucky. I'm on the western side. I am a high school AP. I am also the host of the Big Ed Idea podcast, where we try to let folks just tell their big ideas for how we can change the world of or through education. Like kind of like he said, I'm the AP at the high school. That's me.
Mike.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Mike Lavelle. I'm the AP over here in Massachusetts. I've been an AP for about 11 years now. Before that, I was a history teacher for about 8. So back in business, back on the show here. We got it back in our here in Massachusetts. We're at our first week back in school last week. Had the long weekend. Now we're rocking and rolling. So it's kind of like showtime. You know, we're back in the groove. Everything's kind of a lot of pivoting going on and everything. I'm sure we'll talk about that tonight. Can't wait to hear from everybody else. So it's good to hear everybody. It's good to see everybody out there.
Good to see you, Mike. Yeah, we haven't even started here at my school. We got the teachers back, but we do not have the students until Thursday. So this long vacation, I still got another day tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. Nice. So let's get to our guests. We have James and Hope. So James, why don't you introduce yourself for everybody out there?
Hey, I'm James Overton. I am a middle school assistant principal in Piscataway, New Jersey. AJ, we have students tomorrow for the first time, so I'm excited about that, ready to go. I've been an AP in Piscataway for 2 years. Prior to that, I was a health and phys ed teacher for 10 years in the district. Before that, I taught in New York City, but that's a whole other story. Just looking forward to having kids back. You know, it's been a long time. We were hybrid last year, and I'm expecting 500, hopefully smiling faces coming in tomorrow, so we'll see what happens.
That's awesome, James. And Hope, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hope Weinberg. I'm from New York. I am an assistant principal at a K-4 elementary school in Westchester County. I have 900 K through 4 kiddos in my elementary school. I know your mind is blown right now. And we're super excited to have our youngest learners back in the building. You know, we really had a challenging year last year, but we were able to have our kiddos all in the spring, and we're starting the year all in, no remote options, and we're really excited about it. In addition to my assistant principal role, I also lead the assistant principal forum for the regional Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES in Westchester County, which is in New York. So I'm super excited to engage with some of our awesome leaders in the area. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for joining us. That's some good stuff right there. Hey, if you're watching us, you don't follow these people, you got their names on the screen. So make sure you follow everybody here on social media because they are a great follow. That's how we're all connected. So get the follow on. All right, let's get this started. Get the follow on. That's going to be my new thing, I think. All right,
add that hashtag.
There you go. I like it. All right, so let's kick it off. Something we do here, you know, just talking about our roles. In our pre-show, we talked about everything that's going on in our schools. So Mike loves this question. I love this question. Why don't you guys tell us about what you're doing as an assistant principal? What are your roles as an assistant principal? So James, I'm going to kick it to you first because you're kind of next to me in the top row. So why don't you tell us what you do in your chair?
It's more like, what don't we do? I mean, as APs, I teach a class for NJXL about the assistant principalship, and we tell them all the time, there's nothing that happens every day. It's always something new. It's something different, something you didn't expect. What the things that I like to do, I'm trying to, like most of us, improve the culture and climate of our building. With our students coming back for the first time, my main concern is just a big welcome back for the kids, just to make them feel comfortable. We had our new student orientation, and we had to have it for 2 grades over the summer because we had 2 grades that hadn't been in the building yet. Just trying to reassure the parents that we're doing everything possible to keep your kids safe. And I remember years ago someone telling me that as an educator, we are entrusted with someone's most prized possession every day, every single day. And I'm blessed to have a principal that feels the same way. And we look at our 500 kids as if they were our own children, and we look out for them. So yes, I know we can talk about the learning loss and the gap that was that came up last year, but we really need to concentrate on making sure our children are okay when they come back in that building. We have students that haven't been around anybody but family members for 18 months. So to stick them in a building with 500 kids and going from class to class and sitting in a cafeteria and all these other things, I've already told my counselors, just have your radios on you and maybe put on some roller skates, because we're going to need you for the first, month, 2 months, or whatever it might be for our kids. So right now, my biggest concern is to just love my kids. I know it sounds corny and I'm sorry, but just to love my kids, bring them back in and make them feel at home.
No, James, I think Ryan will speak to that. Ryan, speak to when he says love your kids. I know you smile, so go ahead.
So kind of to break down, what do I do? So there's what I do on paper. Like when I accepted the job and the principal, handed me this paper, your roles and responsibilities, and there's what I actually do. Now, not to say, I don't do stuff off of that paper. Like on that paper, it's like I'm in charge of all the keys in the building, so which is a really fun job. I'm in charge of maintenance requests. I'm in charge of safety protocols, that kind of stuff. But I'm also kind of the impromptu, lack of a better word, therapist or counselor for most of my students. Most of my students know that if you need an ear, if you need to rant, rave, cuss, holler, let it out, just come to Mr. Scott's office, close the door, and you can say whatever you want, and we are honest, we are real, super real, and they kind of know that I believe 1,000%, and I know Josh Tovar is out there, and he's gonna know what I'm saying here, but I'm always into connections before content. So for me, my real job is to know all 700 kids, to know where they're coming from, to know what's going on at home, to know who they're living with at that point, who they're not living with at that point, all the way down to who they dating at that point. It's just my job, kind of like Mr. Overton said, they are my kids. And look, I've got 4 girls at home, and I want to know everything that's going on in their lives. And that's kind of how I look at my students at Webster County High School.
I just want to say one quick thing, Ryan. It's funny that you brought it up that way, because when I first took over my job, staff members were upset that, as the quote disciplinarian of the building, the kids didn't jump into lockers when I walked down the hallway.
Yeah, right.
And I don't want that. I don't want anyone to hate me. We have a very good relationship. We have great relationships. Same thing. My door is always open. Come on in, let's talk. But they also know, listen, I got a job to do, so don't cross the line, because the other side of Mr. O will come out as well. And it's funny you said that, because that really stuck with me. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right, Hope, what's your role as a elementary assistant principal?
I know I have to just laugh when I hear you guys talking about it, because having 5-year-olds in the building, it's such a different experience. But I do think philosophically, I'm a huge believer in Maslow's before Bloom's. At the elementary level, if you don't tap into their social emotional needs, they will not thrive academically. So although I am considered an instructional leader in my position, I do have to ensure that children feel supported, that they feel heard, that they feel included, and that they are their best selves, no matter what their position are or where they are within the school building. you know, in the role of assistant principal, there is often times where I'm outside doing arrival, dismissal, bus duty, a sick kid, a sad kid, happy, a sad teacher. But I do think it's just a matter of being your best self in your role as a leader and building relationships with everybody, especially when I have 5-year-olds stepping foot. This year's unique. You know, I read somewhere that our second graders only know school in a COVID world. And that's such a powerful thing to think about, right? So we have our juniors in high school. They know what school is like. They've been there, right? We have these 8-year-olds who have no idea. And so we have a really tough job in the elementary school to create a school environment where they think this is normal right now so that they thrive. And we're really excited that we can get back to a more normal year than last year. But I would say the elementary level is quite challenging when it comes to that. They don't have that independence yet to be on a device if we have to go remote, or to know how to make friends, or to have that core group of kiddos that they know they can go home and play with. So we really are challenged at the elementary level.
Yeah, I know. I'm living with 2 elementary kids and 1, daycare child, but just looking at the things they're doing, I know these SEL needs are so important. I know they need that relationship. I don't care about the content. They'll learn. They'll learn to read. They'll learn to do their math. They'll get there. But I want them to feel like they can be happy in a school, and I want them to feel like they're comfortable and safe. And those friends that they talk about every day, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, I learned how to do addition today. I want to know what made them happy.
Yeah,
Amen.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mike. I don't want to leave you hanging. Tell us about the things that you have been doing since you started.
Here in Massachusetts, what I do: safety, security, climate, culture, discipline, the communication that comes along with all of that. And also daily operations. When it comes to daily operations during COVID time, that is a job in and of itself. We have to try to keep kids distant. We have to try to mark everything, make sure we have seating charts in the classroom, all those sorts of things. So it's kind of more of a traditional role, but it's one of those things where at the middle school level, our kids just came back. We went through 3 days, and I can echo everything that I've already heard. I've tried to get to every single classroom and welcome back my students. That is so much more important. They see me outside during parent, pick up and drop off, and in the lunchroom and all that. But when you walk into class, you say, "Hey, just want to welcome everybody back." Every single classroom I visited is really, really important to me that they see me outside of my office, outside of those things. So when they come into my office, and it's actually something that we got to talk about, because we talked about this on the show before, kids at the middle school level will make mistakes. I tell them in that light, this is not Mr. Lavelle that's, in the cafeteria hanging with you at lunch, getting to hang out and talk Boston Celtics. I have to do my job now. We have to talk about what went down and what happened. So that's a really good contrast that I like to draw in my position between when you see me out, you can come to me. You can, like Ryan was saying, we can talk about different things. We can talk about relationships. We can talk about your home life. I'm not asking you to do math, science, history, social studies. We can talk about school and how to do it and what you're into when we're in that setting. But when we're in my office and we got to talk business about somebody not being treated properly or somebody really, not, doing the right thing, that's a different kind of person. So we have these lanes that you kind of shift in and out of. And then, of course, you have that staff and that faculty realm too, right? Professional development and making sure, like, we got a lot of drills that we do at the first 10 days of school, right? Fire drills and Alice drills and all those sorts of things, communicating that to staff, making sure they feel comfortable about what's coming up, as well as, creating those connections too. So that's kind of where I'm at in my position as well.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna kick this over to James and Hope. And Hope, I'm gonna start with you. So I'm gonna get your thoughts going here. So we got some aspiring leaders who I see jumping in the chat, and I know we have some other assistant principals watching this right now. So Hope, I'll start with you, and then James, you can jump in. What advice? You just went through 5 different roles as the assistant principal, and nothing was the same. So what advice can you give these aspiring leaders on their search for the assistant principalship?
Yeah, I think first of all, there is never a perfect time for your perfect role. I think that the experience you could get in many different roles is what's going to make you thrive in your forever home, so to say. So, I've had a lot of experience in various leadership roles, and anytime my principal, when I was in the classroom or in my previous role as an instructional coach, anytime my principal said, "Do you want to do this? Do you want to lead this?" I always said yes. even if it was something completely out of my comfort area. I have a literacy background, even if it was professional development around mathematics. I would jump on, I would learn alongside the really strong math teachers, and I would lead in that capacity as a teacher. So I think being someone who goes out of your comfort zone is a really great skill to have as a leader and as a human. I think that's a really great quality to have and to be. And I do think that you can't wait for your perfect dream job. I think that you just need to put yourself out there, interview, talk to people who have interviewed. There is a skill to interviewing, and people on interview committees can and will feel if you are not confident and ready for the position. So I do think that it's something that takes work and it takes persistence, and there is something out there for everybody. So don't give up and keep trugging along, and you'll get what you want eventually.
Awesome advice. All right, James, you teach these assistant principals, these aspiring teachers. So tell us, what do you tell them?
Number one thing, authenticity. Just be real, be you, be who you are, because my biggest fear was going from a health and phys ed teacher to an administrator, that people wouldn't take me seriously. You know, I was the jock that got a job behind a desk, and I wasn't necessarily myself. And I realized I have to be myself. You know, my district hired me for who I was, not who they thought I was going to be. So the fact that the overall wellness of the child is something that is first and foremost in my mind, that's okay. There are people that will say that, you know, as the assistant principal, you're supposed to, when you're in this spot, you can tell me how to do it. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm comfortable. This is what seems to work the best for me being the individual that I am. And, you know, kids can read through all the nonsense. They can see when you're not being real, and so can your staff. Your staff can see when you're not being your true self. And it took a little bit of time to be comfortable with that. But I would say just be the real you. Hope had some great points about, you know, finding that perfect spot, because, you know, what is the perfect spot? You don't really know. When we get into this role, we really don't know what we're getting into. You know, as a teacher, we could sit back and say, oh, well, if I was running a show, I would do this. But then when you sit behind that desk, you say, oh, that's why we can't do that.
Maybe
you figure
not.
it out. And you know, from people that have told me, the jump from assistant principal to principal is even bigger, you know, going from the co-pilot to the pilot seat. So, you know, just get yourself out there and see what's there and feel things out. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, there's nothing wrong with saying to somebody, I don't know, let me look into it for you, instead of giving a wrong answer. So, you know, just like with our students, I would rather have a student, you know, be honest with me. So I try to be as honest I can, be with everyone that I deal with. So the authenticity part is big, and just getting yourself out there and step outside of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid. Just get out there and do it.
Wonderful advice. So I'm going to
I
flip
want to
it
work
for,
with you.
yeah, right. I think we have to have James come back every now and then. Give us a little bit of the taste of that right there. All right, Mike, Ryan, I'm gonna flip it for you guys, Mike and Ryan. What's the worst advice you ever got?
Fake it till you make it.
That's the same one I was thinking.
Ever. If you don't know it, fake it till you make it. You know, always have an answer for this. Try to make people happy. No, absolutely not. Do not ever fake it till you make it. Like our guest said, your staff will see right through it. Your students will see right through it. Bring your own authentic self to your job every single time. Don't apologize for it. Come real. Come where you're from. I tell my kids all the time, I grew up in Chicopee. It's a a town in Western Mass with 60,000 people in it. I've seen, you know what I mean? I come from, Tri-County youth programs, this place that, had different residential homes I worked in. I let them know where I'm coming from. I try to be authentic and with my staff knows that, and my students know that. And I try to bring all those experiences with me so fake it till you make it is the worst advice I've got as an AP. It is the worst thing you can do. We will never have the answers for every single question our staff, our students, or our parents come to us with. We spend our whole summers, right, rocking and rolling on the schedule, staffing our buildings, doing the hiring. We think we got everything where we need it to be, the best that we can. And it'll be like 5 minutes into the first day and someone will ask you a question you didn't even think about. I'll get back to you, right?
So true.
I'm going to find out. I'll get back to you. Those are the things that are real and authentic. If you think you know everything, come on. We all know that's the worst kind of advice you can. That's the worst advice I ever got.
Dude, I can't even tell you. Like last year, my first year, like the deer in headlights look. They're like, so did you ever do this? Or like, did I do what? No, like, what was I supposed to? Like, I don't even fake it anymore. Like I'm just like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm gonna go find out. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Ryan, worst advice you got?
The worst advice? I think, man, I really think it goes like when you were a teacher and they said, don't smile until Christmas. Absolute worst advice I've ever heard in the history of advice. And that goes towards, as an administrator as well. Like I say this all the time, like I don't want to be viewed as the leader of the, let me say that again. I don't want to be viewed as this king on a pedestal. I'm just the guy that is lucky enough to have the front office. And different people look at this different ways, but to me, I'm on the same team as my folks. I'm not the coach. I'm not I'm on the same team. We're on the squad together. Because for me, collaboration will take us way farther than me trying to just, get behind and pushing.
Brian, I'm with you. And, I speak to my good friend Alfonso Mendoza about this. I hate the term administrator, because it just sounds like everything is above. Like, oh, go check with your administrator. Like, I know I'm not an equal to the teachers. I know they see us as something different. But, man, I don't want to be above them. I want to be with them. Like we're all in this together to make the kids happy and healthy and safe and make the, community part of our school. And just the term administrator, Alfonso calls me the teacher strader because I don't want to be an administrator. I'm still in my mind. I'm still a teacher. I'm still there for the kids. I'm still coaching every day. It's always that every day, and that's my purpose. Be there for the kids, help the kids grow, help the teachers, help the kids. And that's what it is. So administrator to me is sometimes, I don't like being the boss. I don't want to be called a boss. That's weird to me. I never saw myself in that role.
Yeah. Unless I was Bruce Springsteen, then you can call me the boss.
Oh, goodness. Not even from New Jersey.
That was a New Jersey lob right there.
I was going to say.
Knock that out of the park, buddy.
That's all right. We'll let some of the people. That's not me. I'm a New Yorker at heart, man.
Oh.
Still a New Yorker. Sorry.
Listen, it's hard because I live down by the shore, but again, I'm a Brooklyn boy to my heart, so it's difficult at times.
There it is. Love it. All right, so let's keep this going. One of the questions we'd love to ask our guests, and I'm going to swing it around. I'm a big passion guy. Like I am driven by my passion to teach. I'm driven by my passion to lead, and there's so many things that I want to do in a school because of my passions. So. James, I'm going to kick it to you. You started Hope last time. James, what is something you're passionate about right now that you want to bring to your school this year?
This year, again, I think my biggest thing is I want my kids to be comfortable. I want them to feel welcomed, not be afraid, not be scared. Some of them are worried about, we forget that our really high achieving kids are worried about not being as high achieving anymore. Yeah. That gets forgotten about. I want my kids. Yes. Do I want them to learn? Of course. Just like you said, I want them to learn. I want my students to feel comfortable. I want them to feel welcomed, to feel comforted, to be loved, to want to come back into the building every day. we have Schoology as our digital learning platform. And I get messages from kids all the time saying, "Oh, Mr. O, I can't wait. School's coming up soon." And I hope that enthusiasm sticks around, until we get to January or so, and they're like, "Oh, when's the summer coming back?" But that's okay. I'll take that when it comes. But I really feel like that is my main concern for this year. I want my students and my staff. I can't, I don't want to forget about them. And our staff does get lost sometimes because we are so focused on our students. But I need my staff to be okay. We've all gone through some difficult times in the last 18 months, and I need them to be okay as well. And I want them to feel like I have their back. I'm not walking into their classroom for an observation to ding them up on the lack of posters on the wall. I want them to know that I have your back, and we're going to do this all together this year.
I love that. That's phenomenal. Hope, go ahead. Biggest passions for you this year?
Yeah, so sounds very similar to what you just shared with us. I really want our kiddos who come in to see themselves in the work that we're doing. We immerse our learners in really rich literacy and mathematics, and with a focus on the diversity, equity, inclusion that, not only New York State, but our local community is focusing on. I really find that it has to start at the elementary level. So we're really looking at enhancing the literature in our classrooms to make sure that all students are visible in our books. I come from a same-sex marriage, and I have a 2-year-old son at home. And I always think about him going to school and being in a classroom where he reads books that don't have two mommies, and how that would really strike him as surprise, and he would not be able to engage in the text as another kiddo sitting next to him. We're also looking at our diverse learners who come in with different backgrounds from different countries with different cultures. So we're really looking on how we could, again, have all our kiddos see themselves in the work we're doing. And that is not only my focus in my building, but also the focus of my doctoral work. So I'm super passionate about it. It's personally connected to me and professionally connected to me. And I'm hoping that, we're taking baby steps. They say, you crawl before you run, and you run before you walk. You walk before you run. We're definitely crawling right now, but at least we're moving. So I'm psyched.
I love that. So that's so powerful, especially the fact that you said the community is on board. I think that really is what's going to set you up for success. With the community there to support you and your teachers on board as well, that's going to be great. I love that initiative, and it's so meaningful right now. And I know that's something that I'm bringing to my school this year. My two biggest things are bringing more diversity, equity, and inclusion into our classrooms, and positive behavior. So those are two things I'm working on. So, I love the direction you're going. I hope we can have you back another time in this part of this year, and you can discuss what's been working, because that's so important. That's so important. I love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Ryan, Mike, let's go to you. I know you had big plans going into the year. So tell us, what have you been working on? How is it progressing? And where's it going to go?
All right. You want me to go
Mike,
first?
Let's start with you.
Yeah,
Ryan, go ahead. Sure. Take it.
All right. So for staff, I'm really looking to find some ways that, we can keep the expectations high, but we can take some stuff off their plate. I'm just seeing this feeling pervading in my staff. Like, we've been in school 3 weeks, but some of teachers said the other day, I feel like we've been in school for 3 months. What are some things that, because I just looked at our COVID numbers, we have right at about 670, 680 kids, and we've already sent 170 kids home because of either being directly affected or contact tracing. Mm-hmm. So teachers are just spent. And sometimes I wonder, are we pushing too much content? Again, I'm a believer in psychology before pedagogy, connections before content. So I wonder sometimes, are we pushing too much of the content and forgetting our teachers, their people. For my students, I'm really, really excited that this year we are expanding some of our non-traditional routes to graduation. We have opened up a room where students can do all of their coursework on Edgenuity but it's back in a structured room with literally the basketball coach, the baseball coach, who are really good at motivating. So trying to intertwine some of that motivational psychology stuff, giving these kids the structure that they sorely need, and then being able to allow them, a little bit of some wins that they haven't had. So, we're seeing kids in my rural county. There's not really any adult ed programs anywhere. So we had a kid today that started. He's 20. He's coming back for 2 hours, 4 days a week. He needs 2 credits to earn. Kid never thought he'd graduate, but we are giving him the option to come in the building, and I'm super excited. Because our little rural community is starting to really think outside of the box.
That's fantastic. I love that. Can't wait to hear how that student does going forward.
Yeah.
Mike, go ahead.
Keep us posted on him, Ryan. That's an interesting story right there, man.
I will.
So for me, one of our mantras over at my middle school is the road to success begins at OMS, right? Like Oxford Middle School. So it's really, for me, it's kind of like redefining this concept of success, having a different relationship with what success means for my teachers and my faculty and for my students. So meaning some of my faculty, they're teaching a little bit outside their content area, so they got to pass a test this year. That weighs on the back of your mind, and just giving them the support, talking with them through it. Look, you got this. You've been doing this a long time. I know it's a different, kind of scenario. Giving them some support, like, look, we got your back. We want you here. This is something that if you don't pass it right now, sign up for it again. You're going to make this happen. You're going to do well, and really encouraging them to make it work. I got teachers that are trying to gamify their whole entire curriculum, doing a killer job at it too. I can't wait to get into that classroom and see what it looks like. Will every lesson in a gamified classroom be successful? I don't know, but I'd like to see it. Like that's success in and of itself. Just like Ryan said, stepping outside that box, trying different things and new things is success. And even if the lessons and things kind of fail, you learn from them, and that's successful in my opinion. For my students, we got a student right now who's been to school every single day since we started. We've been to school 4 days. Last year, wasn't in school once. Barely showed up to his remote classes. Didn't come through all 4 days. I don't care if he does not one lick of work.
That's right.
That's irrelevant. Mm-hmm. I seen him every single day. Mm-hmm. I said, "It's good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here." Every day, and that right there to me is a realm of success. And we gauge it sometimes in assessment, and we gauge it in data, and we gauge it in teacher appreciation days and things like that. But we really got to kind of take a relook and revamp this concept of success. And I like that I'm starting to look through that as a different lens. And I'll congratulate kids who are high flyers that, just tell me about, hey, did you see my project over there? I'm like, yeah, I saw that. That was cool. We got a 3D printer, kids working on that. Like, that's success in and of itself. Yeah, it's a gadget, but they got to go on Tinkercad and design that little square that they made, right? Like, so it's learning different skills. Those things can't always be measured in assessment. And I think it's super important to acknowledge them when you see them going on. And that success continues to build, and it continues to spiral, that progressive, kind of positive talk, the positive dog, I think Ryan called it one time. You got to feed that positive dog. And our kids recognize that and they see it. So really redefining and looking at success through a different lens, I think is my passion for this year.
I love that. Take the small wins and push it forward and let the kids know that they're doing something huge. All right, my last question for everybody, and I think this is a huge one right now, as we talked about starting the year on the right foot, and Ryan just said before, it feels like he's been in school for 3 months. Let's talk about our own SEL. All right, what are you doing for yourself? As Principal Kafele has said in many of his AP virtual academies, this is the most misunderstood position on the face of the earth, and is the most underrated position on the face of the earth. We're doing a lot. All of you spoke about your roles, and everything is different. So for your own mental health and your own SEL, what are you doing to help you stay calm, to help you kind of disconnect from work and kind of just be with your family and be by yourself and on your own? So Mike, I'm going to throw it to you in the bottom, and I'm going to go to Hope next. So Mike, what do you do for yourself for your own mental health and SEL?
Sure. First, it takes courage and constitution to disconnect. That's the only thing I can say. It's not easy. We have to do it. If we don't do it, we will burn out in this position 100%. So the way I do that is, I try to stay after school till about, we get out about 2:25. All of our sports come through. It's about 3:30, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. So I stay for that late bus to make sure all the kids have gotten home safe, because I feel that's part of my job, is definitely returning kids home safely to their families. So after I get home, I got a pretty far, I got a 40-minute commute. When I get home, it's checking in with my wife. She's a second grade teacher. That's primary. It's the stories that come. We just kind of both decompress, fly all the, let it all off our chest. You know what I mean? And then we kind of, that helps in and of itself. And then for me, 4 days, it started over the pandemic, but I do utilize that Calm app. That meditation app is key. 4 times a week. It's like a positive habit. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do it now. It's like Sunday through Wednesday. That's my jam. And I'm a real big, physical fitness kind of person. Fitness is part of my life. I went 8 miles on my bike today. It felt great. That helps just get it off. For me, hitting the gym, doing that sort of physical exercise, walking my dog after dinner, those are the types of things that I need to do to really get myself out of that school realm, back into life realm. Because let's be clear, we do our jobs with a lot of passion, but we do it so we can live our lives when we come home. And I think it's important. I'm glad, AJ brought this up, and that's kind of how I do it, between the meditation, the working out, the family, and the dog walking. That's how we get it through. And I got to steal it, right? Sometimes my dog is a positive dog, and sometimes it's
Appreciate that, Mike. Well said. Well said. All right, Hope. What do you got? What's your mental health?
I feel like I'm the worst example of this. So it is definitely, I'm in year 7 of being an instructional leader. I'm not going to call it administrator, AJ. And year 16 of being an educator. And I actually can say that last year, during year 6, I was emotionally, physically drained with everything happening and having a toddler at home. I think that one of my goals this year is definitely to leave work at work, which is a very hard thing. I am one of those people who have a 0 inbox policy. So if an email comes in, I need to get it out of my inbox. It's just who I am, and it makes people happy. And I have to realize that I'm not making myself happy by making other people happy. And so I need to just realize that unless it's a priority, it could wait till the morning, and I need to come home and be with my family. I think it's challenging. I think we're all in this role because we're doers, and changing the educational world is on our mind in small ways and big ways all the time. I mean, look what we're doing right now at 9 o'clock at night, right? This for me tonight, though, was part of my SEL. I felt that, like, coming and doing this with people who I don't really know and talking about what we do and coming together was a way for me to decompress in a different way. So I do think there's a lot of value to collegial circles. I do find that confiding in people who I work alongside who might not be in my district really helps me, because they do understand what I'm going through and they could relate and be empathetic. And I do think that I have to be better at doing things for myself. So it is a goal. And I hope that when I do come back here in a few months, I'll tell you something great I'm doing. But right now it's been really a struggle, and especially with going to school at night too. Any free moment when you're in doctoral class, when you're a doctoral student, you're reading or writing. So it's really a lot of work in the interim, but I'm trying. But I'm happy to be here with you guys, and I'm smiling and I feel good. So that means my SEL is on point right now.
Got your back.
There we go. I'm glad we're helping you out here any way we can. James, over to you. Mental health, SEL. What do you got for us?
I hope that part of that was great. The idea of finding the like-minded individuals. That's how I got on Twitter to begin with. And AJ, you and I, we met at camp years ago. We were still teaching at the time. We were still teaching, and just some of the conversations that we had. You need to find your people so you don't feel like you're a lunatic. So you don't feel like you're the only person in the world that feels this way. Yep. So you have to find your people and lean on them. You have to lean on each other. And I like Mike, I have a long commute. I have about an hour drive each way. and that's my decompression time. And I'm a big sports fan, but I can't listen to sports radio on the way home because I hear how bad my Mets are or what the Giant outlook is going to be for this year, and it drives me nuts. So a lot of times it's music. You know, going in the morning, my music will put me in a certain mood, and it depends on how I'm feeling. I need my music to balance me out. So it could be Bob Marley going in the morning. It could be Tupac going in the morning. It all depends on what it is, you know. I think the fact that my principal and I have oh, I see this shirt. I think my principal and I have a really good relationship and a good understanding in terms of if we text each other outside of office hours, outside of school time, it's something that can wait. It's not important. It's just an FYI. If my phone rings right now and it says Donna White, guys, I need a second. I got to take this.
Right.
And we have that understanding with each other because we're big on finding that separation and getting away from the building and being with our families and things like that. Going to the gym is big. Again, on Twitter, the Fit Leaders, it's a bunch of people that really we inspire each other. And I see some of these guys, I'm like, man, I got to step my game up a little bit because they're doing some great things. And I've always been an athlete. So for me, the gym was a big thing. I got to go lift. I got to go pick things up and put them down. I got to go run. But Mike, I'll be the Calm app or Headspace. I'll find time where I'm just sitting there and just my breathing and in my thoughts. And it's something that over time I've learned how to do much better. So it's not really one thing. It's a mixture of all these different things that you put in. You throw it in a pot, you stir it up a little bit, and you get to pick out what you want when you need it. So that's kind of, how I do it.
It's outstanding. Well said. Well said. Thank you, James.
We have talked about it before that this is some of the best professional development that we've ever had. When you talk from people across the country that do the same exact job that you do in different ways and in different realms and in different states, different districts, but can share that without, like having to be, well, we're professional, but I mean, without having to have a colleague that's in the same district as you, it's so good in and of itself. Like it's just get off your chest. So that's really positive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Mike, a couple of years ago, I ran a PD where we did a live Twitter chat, and it was all about using Twitter for professional development. And I contacted a bunch of people I knew that were in Texas and Arizona and wherever they were. I was like, hey, look out for this hashtag. And the teachers were like, wait a second, how did they know what's going on here? And just started this huge thing, and it was so much fun. But spot on. This is the best PD that I've gotten, in my entire teaching career.
Put that on repeat. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah. First off, I'm definitely going to echo what you all are saying. Like my PLF has like literally got me through lockdown. Like literally changed my mindset. I was in a completely different spot before COVID. So while COVID has all kinds of, it's not good. However, there have been some great things for me personally that have come out of it. Primarily just meeting people, and I think kind of like you said, like I don't feel as crazy because I connect with people all over the United States that have those crazy ideas. Where your feet are, some of your ideas might sound a little outside of the box, but somewhere those are kind of just normal. So that has really, really helped me. I'm also a huge 1% better every day type of person. So like I don't try to like change the world every day. I look long term. Like as long as I am 1% better than I was yesterday, as long as my school is 1% better today than it was yesterday, then I've done my job. And I take that into the gym every morning at 5:30. As long as I am putting in the work and I'm focusing on 1% today, let's be honest, 100 days of 1%, guess what that equals? 100%. And then lastly, this is going to sound hokey, but I really, truly believe it. Every day I walk into that building, I look for God winks because they are there. And if you are looking for them, you are going to see them. I'm a firm believer that God puts you in particular places at particular times for particular reasons. And sometimes we get so busy, we forget to look and to see them. And so, like all the madness and the craziness, if you can, take the time to look, there are reasons why you are there. You just got to be looking for them.
That's so true. Everybody, so well said. I think this has been outstanding. I think, we grow together. We're better together. All the things you said, between physical fitness, between meditation, between connecting and looking for what's around you, all those different things are there to make you a better person. So thank you guys for being so honest and for sharing that. We are at the 45-minute mark, so I think it's time for us to step away. But let me take this comment off the screen here. If you're listening, whether it's live or you check out the replay, follow these people. You got their names on the screen. Ryan, James, Mike, Hope, thank you so much for joining tonight. This has been a great conversation. It's been fantastic. Check us out in 2 weeks. We'll be back for the AP Roundtable number 10 with some other and new assistant principals. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Catch you soon.
Bye, guys. Good luck out there if you're starting school.